We'd like to welcome everyone to the Reverend Dr. Martin Luther King Oratorical Contest here in the city of Columbus in this incredible venue of the King Arts Complex. We'd like to get this event started, first of all, with Mr. James and Sherry Chafin. And if you could come on with a a cappella version of Lift Every Voice. So if you'd come on up. And please, if everyone could stand.
Lift every voice and sing till earth and heaven ring with the harmonies of liberty. Let our rejoicing rise high as the listening skies. Let it resound loud as the rolling sea. Sing a song full of the faith that the dark past has taught us. Sing a song full of the hope that the present has brought us. Facing the rising sun of our new day begun. Let us march on till victory is won.
Thank you so much, James and Sherry Chafin. Judges, contestants, ladies and gentlemen, once again, good afternoon and welcome to the 16th annual City of Columbus Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. Youth Oratorical Contest. This year's theme is, what would Dr. King say today? Chaos or community? I'm Napoleon Bell and I am the Executive Director of the Columbus Community Relations Commission. I, along with my co-hosts, will be guiding you today on this journey through Dr. King's dream as seen through the eyes of our young orators.
Thank you, Napoleon. It is an honor to be here with you today. Hi, I'm Tony Bell. I am the owner of Phoenix Consulting Company, and I get to be the co-host for this event. So thank you for having me, and thank you to the King Arts Complex for providing us with this great space for this contest. Today we are here to celebrate the life and legacy of Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. Through his great work, we've seen and continue to see meaningful strides in civil and human rights. Dr. King uplifted many and continues to motivate others to look past differences and embrace diversity.
Thank you so much, Tony. Now it is my time to not take up the stage, but for someone to take the stage that is going to lead our city into the next centuries. And so it is my pleasure to introduce our new mayor, Mayor Andrew Ginther.
Good afternoon. You knew better than that. Good afternoon. All right. This is one of our city's most important weekends as we celebrate one of the world's greatest freedom fighters, one of the most celebrated leaders, peacemakers, and someone who, as President Lincoln talked about, helped us realize a more perfect union. So it's fitting that here we are today in one of our city's greatest assets, the King Center and the King Arts Complex, to hear some of our most talented orators speak to the values, the principles, the proud past, present, and amazing future that you have envisioned for us based on the teachings, the work, the great commitment that Dr. King showed to all of us. You know, this is a real special weekend because we as a city, the beginning of the calendar year, get to celebrate and take time, starting here, interfaith worship service tomorrow evening at Tridestone, King Day breakfast, one of the largest in the country, a march that will lead us from the King Center to the Lincoln Theater. We'll hear from amazing civil rights leaders. I mean, it was just last year that an American icon, Julian Bond, spoke to a packed house. And I'm not sure if you got to listen in. There was an American orator of first rate. And we were so blessed to be able to spend some time with him before he went home to heaven. So I'm excited to be here today and to hear the great words of our young leaders, because Columbus is doing pretty well. We built a pretty good city together. But our best days and our brightest days are still ahead of us. So we look to you. We look to these amazing young people to help shape our future together, to help write the next chapter. Your parents and grandparents and other community leaders have put you in a good place on a solid foundation. But it's up to you to work hard and commit yourselves to writing the next chapter for the city of Columbus. And so I'm here with my colleagues from council, Councilmember President Pro Tem Tyson, Councilmember Page, Councilmember Hardin, Board of Education member Judge Eric Brown, amazing leaders who are all here because you are special. You are remarkable. And we are excited to celebrate you and the future you're going to build and help lead as Columbus's next generation of leaders, whether it's in medicine, law enforcement, public health. Our needs are great. And the people of Columbus, if we're going to realize our vision to become America's opportunity city, we're going to need you. So God bless you. Good luck. And we look forward to continuing to hear great things from you today, tomorrow, and into the future. Thank you so much for having me.
How about another round of applause for our new mayor, Andrew Ginther. And as the mayor said, we have our city council member here, city council members, but city council member and President Pro Tem, Priscilla Tyson, would like to come up and say a few words. Please come on up, give her a round of applause.
Good afternoon. It certainly is an honor and a privilege to stand before you today. And before I make my remarks, I want to ask my council colleagues, Councilmember Shannon Hardin, who went to Morehouse, please stand, where Martin Luther King went to college. And also Councilmember Jiza Page. And also, again, I want to thank our mayor for being here, as well as our school board member, Mr. Eric Brown. So thank you for being here. as the mayor said, this is really a special weekend in the city of Columbus. And he mentioned all the events that we will be having in the city of Columbus through Monday. It's special because we're recognizing the work of a leader, Dr. Martin Luther King Jr., who, thinking about the topic of their speeches today, chaos or community. Well, through chaos, he built community. And so I'm excited to be able to hear the speeches that you will be making, thinking about chaos and community. And so I want to say on behalf of Columbus City Council, we want to thank Napoleon Bell, the director of the Community Relations Commission, and his team for being able to present this event today on this side of the auditorium and over on the other side in Garfield School. And I remember as a young girl, I went to Garfield Elementary School. And so I know what it's like to get up and speak in front of individuals, but I'm so moved whenever I walk into this space and to Garfield to think about what a little girl that was born at 366 St. Clair Avenue, that based a little girl, who would have imagined would be standing before you today to hear what you're going to say about chaos and community. And the reason I'm able to stand here, and most of us to be in this room today, is because of the work of Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. So I'm so pleased that I can stand. So with that, we're excited to be able to hear your speeches today. We wish you good luck as you move forward. And certainly, as the mayor stated, you are our future. You are our future, and we're excited that you are going to be presenting today. We wish you the best. Continue to listen to your parents, listen to your teachers, continue to listen to your guidance counselors, continue to just listen to people to help you to move forward. This community needs you. This community loves you. We wish you the very best in your presentations today. God bless you. Have a great day.
Thank you so much, President Pro Tem Tyson. Our last speaker wears many hats, and he was just elected to the Columbus City Schools Board, and he's also one of our commissioners and the vice chair of our commission. So it's my pleasure to bring up Commissioner Eric Brown.
Good afternoon. On behalf of the Columbus Community Relations Commission, I welcome you to the 16th annual City of Columbus Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. Youth Oratorical Contest. Thank you for allowing me to welcome you here today. I know that some of the other officials here have already been recognized and thanked, and I add my thanks. But I want to especially welcome the parents and the families that are here today who are encouraging and supporting these students and the contest. And most importantly, to you, the students who are participating, you are our orators. Thank you very much for stepping up. Now, the students engaging in this oratorical contest are, as you've heard from several others, our future. All of us here must support and encourage these students to listen to their hearts, to work for what's right, and to speak for those unable to speak for themselves. We're here to celebrate the Reverend Dr. Martin Luther King Jr., and to think about what he would say to us today. Now, I want to share just a couple of his words that have special personal meaning for me. So I'm a member of the Jewish community here in Columbus. Dr. King was a very staunch supporter of the state of Israel. He was a vocal advocate for Soviet Jewry, and he was a fierce opponent of anti-Semitism. In 1968, A mere 10 days before his tragic death, Dr. King spoke these words to the rabbis assembled nationally. He said, "Peace for Israel means security, and we must stand with all our might to protect her right to exist, its territorial integrity, and the right to use whatever sea lanes it needs. Israel is one of the great outposts of democracy in the world, and a marvelous example of what can be done, how desert land can be transformed into an oasis of brotherhood and democracy. Peace for Israel means security, and that security must be a reality." For each of you, especially as you're going to speak for us today, you will include possibly some of Dr. King's ideas or his words that have special personal meaning for you. As we observe Dr. King's birthday on Monday, let us all work to achieve a more peaceful, more secure, and more compassionate world. And to our students, to those of you that do go on to the state contest in April, make Columbus proud. Thank you.
Thank you so much to our mayor, city council, our commissioners. I know you're going over to then welcome the younger groups in, so we appreciate what you've done here for us today to get things started. Now, to get things started. As our way of honoring Dr. King, we have invited students grades kindergarten through 12 from schools all over the Franklin County area to present original orations explaining what Dr. King's many accomplishments mean to them.
And in this room, we have the junior and senior divisions. Students, each of you should have a name badge. Does everyone have one? All right. You would have gotten your name badge when you registered. And students, take a look at your name badge. That badge should have your name, division, and a number. So please make sure that your badge says either junior or senior division. And you should also be seated to the number, according to the number on your badge. Is everyone in the right place? All right. Well, great. Please, orators, when your name is called, please come up the stairs to the front of the stage. And there's an X on the floor right by that microphone. Stand on that X and make sure that when you speak, that you don't hold on to the microphone or stand too close to it. If you're too close to it, it will make a loud noise and we won't be able to understand you. Are you ready? All right, I see your smiling faces.
All right, today we have 4 divisions: primary, intermediate, junior, and senior competing in this contest. The top 3 winners in each division are eligible to compete in the statewide Dr. King Oratorical Contest in April of 2016. The awards presentation for today's contest will be this afternoon right here in the theater after all the scores are tabulated. We have certificates for all those who have participated. Please make sure you have your certificate before you leave. And for those who place, be sure to get information about the statewide competition before leaving.
Thank you. And judges, we can't have a competition without judges, now can we? So let's introduce our wonderful judges. These people have graciously given us their time today. So please, everyone, as much as I know you'd like to clap, hold your applause until I've introduced the last person. We have Karen Nolan Mitchell. She's not in this room, but she did judge all of the written orations. Aaron McGuire, Assistant Professor of English and Communications at Central Ohio Technical College. Dr. Mia Neal, Executive Director of the P2I Foundation and founder of the Women's Health Education Program at Columbus State Community College. Charles Noble. Charles is a program manager for the Boys and Men of Color initiatives for the Kirwan Institute of Study of Race and Ethnicity at The Ohio State Ohio State University. And Norma Richards, in for her is her beautiful daughter. And Norma is an advocate for post-secondary education and the mother of 3 engineers, a science teacher, wife, community servant, and author of the book, Free Ride to College, A Guide to Grooming Your Kids for a Full Academic Scholarship book series.
How about a round of applause for our judges? So not only are we paying tribute to a man who has had significant effect on all of our lives, but we are providing an opportunity for these young students to hone their skills that will be useful to them the rest of their lives. One day, one of these students might be right here in our place, maybe emceeing the same contest, or even better. That could become a motivational speaker who is able to affect change just like Dr. King did.
You are absolutely right, Napoleon. The possibilities are endless with these young people and what they can do. And with that said, I say, let's get this show on the road.
All right.
We're in for an exciting afternoon, but first let's go over some housekeeping rules. We ask that you remain seated and quiet while our orators are presenting. Please keep your talking to a minimum, to only the things that are absolutely necessary. And if you need to leave the room, please do it in between orations. Our main concern is to provide the best possible atmosphere for all of our contestants. Please do not use video or audio recording equipment of any kind during the contestant orations. We ask this in fairness to all of our contestants. One flash of light, one click, beep, or buzz, and those orations could be completely off task and it can break their concentration, okay? So I know we've got some proud parents and family members in here, but hold off. We've got recording going on in the back. Thank you. Please also take a moment to turn off. Everyone take out your cell phones. Hold them up. Come on, parents. Make sure you turn it off. Turn it off. Even a vibration can be heard, and that can be distracting to a young orator. We also ask that if you have small children and they become a little squirmy or vocal, please take them out of the room. Again, that one small distraction could make a world of difference in the scoring of our contestants. We will try to provide time in between contestants so that people can move in and out of the room as needed without disturbing the other contestants. And finally, we ask that you not call out your student. Do not go, "That's my baby," while they're being introduced. You might want to, but do it in your head. All of these things could throw them off, and none of us want that to happen. So, thank you in advance for your cooperation. Big round of applause for that cooperation.
All right, contestants, here are some last-minute reminders. Listen well, sit as quietly as you can, and show respect to your fellow orators. When we call your name, come to the front. To be fair to all, you must use the microphone, but remember, don't touch it, speak directly into the microphone, and speak loudly enough for the judges to hear you. Introduce yourself by stating in complete sentences, "Judges, ladies and gentlemen, my name is," then give your name, and I'm 12 years old. And I am in the whatever grade, and I attend whatever school you attend. Then the title of my oration is, and you give that title. Your time will then begin when you state the oration of your title, or title of your oration. Our timekeeper will begin the clock when you state your title. The timekeeper will let you know when you have 1 minute left by ringing the bell, and then will ring the bell again when your time is up. Timekeeper, please demonstrate the bell. There you go. And that timekeeper is my assistant director, Guadalupe Velasquez. So, if you're not finished when you hear the second bell, you may complete your oration, but know that your time has expired and points will be deducted for going over time. And so does everyone understand that? All right, great. Okay, let's begin our contest. Junior contestants, are you ready? Are you ready? All right. Contestants, when your name is called, please move quickly and carefully to the front of the stage. Coaches, you may accompany your student to the front, but please stand to the side and provide prompts, 1 or 2 words, please, if they get stuck. But of course, I'm sure that will not happen. Contestants, after you've completed your oration, please return to your seat, and remember, silence is golden. Let's be fair to all the contestants and keep this room quiet. So, we will then begin our first contestant in the junior division. Would you please come to the stage, Miss Brianna Anderson. She's 13 years of age, in the eighth grade, and is from Columbus City Preparatory School for Girls. Yep. I'll adjust the thing.
Right here. Yeah. Hello, judges, ladies and gentlemen. My name is Brianna Anderson. I am 13 and in the 8th grade. I attend Columbus City Preparatory School for Girls. The topic of my oration is, what would Dr. King say? Chaos or community? When I couldn't agree, I questioned. When I couldn't question, I reflected. When I couldn't reflect, I almost gave up. But before I gave up, I started to believe. Believing was my first step to realizing we have a problem. Some people say chaos is over. The truth is, some of us walk around in chains. These chains aren't physical, but a mental state in which we are still prisoners. The dilemma as I see it could be defined as a pit of hatred that the bridge of love can't stretch across. This is where slowing down is necessary. Chaos has a different meaning than what most people think is true. Chaos isn't bombing or killing or war. Chaos is the state in which hatred and confusion has spread so violently, there is no going back. The ultimate measure of a man is not where he stands at times of comfort and convenience, but where he stands at times of challenge and controversy. By Martin Luther King Jr. To build a stable community takes commitment. This is something we are building, but not possess. Surrounded by the warmth of a world where not only you are loved by family, but by all of the individuals that surround you. You can never satisfy everyone. Fantasies of a better surrounding area will freeze you in an image of the most perfect world. I believe this community can bring itself out of the ocean depths in which it is drowning. Wouldn't you love a world where you could walk outside and know everything is okay? So would I. When I had no voice, I couldn't communicate. When I couldn't communicate, I revised. When I couldn't revise, I almost stopped dreaming. But before I stopped dreaming, I kept my faith. Keeping my faith was the last step to realizing we will find a solution. Some people say community is coming. The truth is, some of us walk around with our heads held high. These individuals see light, the light that will lead us all to freedom.
Judges, ladies and gentlemen, my name is Faith Bondurant. I'm in the 8th grade. I'm 13 years old, and I attend Columbus City Preparatory School for Girls. Freedom is never voluntarily given by the oppressor. It must be demanded by the oppressed. Freedom hasn't been given to many, although it's been demanded by millions. In order for us to come together as a whole, or as Dr. Martin Luther King would say, a community, we're going to have a little chaos. With a little chaos, we must realize we may have all come on different ships, but we're in the same boat now. With a little chaos, as a whole, we must see past each other's differences and want to make a change. With a little chaos, you will have to fight through the battles and the hardships, but at one point, we can finally come together and call ourselves a community. When Dr. Martin Luther King was alive, he had to face many of these hardships. He wasn't the type of person who was a one and done. He had self-motivation and wanted his dream to be heard. His dream of little white girls and black boys playing together. His dream of blacks getting the same quality education as whites. His dreams that black could say they're equal. Not only blacks, but he wanted everyone to be equal. Dr. King believed in his dream and put forth action. His dream started off as something local, but turned into something national. Everyone came together and agreed with his beliefs and started to make a change in a nonviolent way. At the center of nonviolence stands the principle of love. Dr. King wanted everyone to love each other and come together and to fight for what's right. In my opinion, I would say Dr. King would say today we're building to a large community. Because of Dr. King, we've come a long way. We've accomplished nonviolent ways to try and solve our problems. We came together slowly and in the making of changing how others view different races. We're spreading awareness by creating things such as hashtag All Lives Matter and hashtag Black Lives Matter, where we're truly making a difference in our country today. We've also created organizations to spread awareness by doing presentations to represent the problem, whether it's race or something as complicated as religion. Although we've come a long way from the continuous violence, there is still improvement that needs to be made. Like the past, we still have police brutality, the white officers killing innocent blacks, the negative images that represent all black people. Almost everything you hear about blacks is negative, and fortunately, we are slowly changing this stereotype and trying to make things better. In conclusion, if Dr. King was here today, I think he would see us as a community. Dr. King had a dream of equality and love. Fortunately, we've come a long way. We've came from a diverse country to an accepting community. Thank you.
Judges, ladies and gentlemen, my name is Natalia Brody. I am 13 years of age in the 8th grade. I attend Medina Middle School. My topic is accept us for who we are. The civil rights movement the civil rights movement was a movement for African Americans to have the same rights as whites. As most people know, African American students weren't able to have the same education as the whites. White children attended large, well-equipped modern schools, while blacks attended one-room schoolhouses with not many books nor teachers to teach the students. Unfortunately, today we still struggle with inequalities, but that does not mean the fight is over. The civil rights movement started so that people of all skin colors could go to school together, so all black and white children could be together. But you see now in this present day, everyone is truly not being treated equally. Every day there seems to be a murder, but is there really justice for all? August 9th, 2014, Michael Brown was a young unarmed black man who was shot and killed. What was he shot for? It feels like to me, African Americans are just getting killed because of our skin color. January 26, 3:45 a.m., 2015, a young black man was shot and killed. But nobody knew who shot him. But the police had no intentions of searching for the person who killed him. But when a young white girl was murdered, the police were still looking for the little girl who was killed, but then found her in the month of August 2015. All that time, the investigators were searching for the white girl, but the investigators wouldn't take 1 week to search for the innocent black man. This is a personal story of mine, and it is an example of how we, African Americans, are still not getting the right treatment we deserve. All that time. But if Dr. Martin Luther King was still here, what would he think? How would he feel? He started a movement decades ago for all to have the same treatment, for all to go to the same school together. One day, my 4 little children will one day live in a nation where they will not be judged by the color of their skin, but by the content of their character. I have a dream that down in Alabama, with its vicious racists, whose governor's lips dripping with the words of interposition and nullification, that one day right down in Alabama, little black girls and black boys will be able to join hands with little white girls and white boys as brothers and sisters. So you ask chaos or community, and I say currently chaos, but chaos does not mean it's the end. It simply means this is a time for change, with change, and beauty and growth to emerge.
My name is Sharnae Carter. I am 14 in the 8th grade, and I attend Columbus City Preparatory School for Girls. The topic of my oration is, what would Dr. King say today, chaos or community? Today's society, in chaos or community? Another question, how would Dr. King view the world today, in chaos or community? Many would be quick to say chaos, while others would be just as fast to say community. Though only few would say, though, in our opinion, Dr. King would say, although our nation is surging with chaos, we are thriving for community. Whilst this answer is very perplexing, I will try my best to explain how the chaos in the world, such as reverse racism, police brutality, any and all chaos in the world, do not outweigh the fact that people are trying to come together. People fail to get along because they don't know each other. They don't know each other because they have not communicated with each other. During Dr. King's lifetime, his ultimate goal was for people to be treated equally. In his era, black people were discriminated against white people. He made a movement to put a stopper to this inequality. Though, in this decade, discrimination is still in effect. Only this time, every race is on the receiving end of it. We have blacks discriminating against whites, Asians, Hispanics, and even against other blacks. This is something that we cannot let live on. Slowly but surely, people are trying to end this discrimination. We, as in the kids, the adults, blacks, Asians, Hispanics, everyone, we are trying to create an everlasting movement that will put a stop to this inequality. Police brutality is not something that has just arisen. It has been around for decades. We have slowly pushed it to the back burner, but now it has arisen again, and we are realizing how much power it holds. The Freddie Gray case and the Trayvon Martin case are 2 examples of this. Freddie Gray was shot, Freddie Gray died in police custody. This had the black race as a whole in uproar. This created the Boston riots. People committed crimes, burned buildings, broke out in fights because they felt unjustified by this heinous crime. The Freddie Gray case led this nation to chaos, while Trayvon Martin was shot by George Zimmerman. Zimmerman wasn't convicted of murder. He used the defense, I was just defending myself. Of course, the black race as a whole was in an uproar, but this led us to peace. The Trayvon Martin case led us to create the hashtag Black Lives Matter, which eventually led to hashtag All Lives Matter. Slowly but surely, we are trying to come together as a community. We are joining hands, that way the children of my children won't have to deal with this stupidity in their lifetime. Again, I say, Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. would say, our nation is surging with chaos, but we sure are thriving for community. Thank you.
Hello, fellow students, parents, and community leaders. My name is Cameron Dewberry. I am a 12-year-old 7th grader at Patriot Preparatory Academy, and the question today is, what would Martin Luther King Jr. say? Chaos or community? I believe if Dr. King could see today's society, he would not see the community that he dreamt of, but the chaos that he fought so hard to destroy in full force. Dr. King was one of the most influential civil rights activists that ever lived. He was a strong believer in nonviolent protests, such as the Montgomery bus boycott in 1955, which led to the desegregation of public transportation in the South, and then the March on Washington in 1963, where he gave his famous I Have a Dream speech. On both occasions, King was the utmost example of nonviolent behavior, encouraging everyone that stood with him to do the same. Trying to change the way people saw one another was his heart's desire. He wanted all people to be equal, no matter the color of their skin. Dr. King once said, "Darkness cannot drive out darkness. Only light can do that. Hate cannot drive out hate. Only love can do that." So looking at today's world, he would not see the light that he longed for, nor the love that he wished to be found inside the hearts of everyone, but the chaos from the riots in Ferguson, Missouri, over unlawful, unnecessary killings. People reacting to the unjust by destroying their own, protesting by burning, tearing down. So much chaos. Why? Where is the justice found? Surely not like this. Not what Dr. King foresaw. On August 28, 1963, Dr. King did give his I Have a Dream speech at the nation's capital, Washington, D.C. This huge demonstration led to the Civil Rights Act of 1964. He was determined to lead the people in a peaceful way, no matter how violent things around him became. Dr. King that year received his Nobel Peace Prize at the age of 35. His determination was unwavering. He knew change had to come, but by peace, not violence. On March 9, 1965, Dr. King led his followers to the Pettus Bridge in Selma, Alabama. Unable to cross because of a restraining order, Dr. King did not ignore the authorities and cross anyway, but chose to kneel down and pray. This demonstration led to the Voting Rights Act of 1965. Peace still standing strong. On April 4th, 1968, the man who all knew as Peace was assassinated outside of his hotel room in Memphis, Tennessee. Dr. King was no more. Until the very end, he fought peacefully for equality. He knew this world wasn't perfect, but he strived to improve it. He stated the day before his death at the protest for sanitation workers, "We've got to give ourselves to this struggle until the very end. We've got to see it through." So I believe if Dr. King could, he would say, "Change is key. Peace for violence. Please let our light shine through the darkness. We can still inspire and empower people if we just remember and act."
Hello, judges, ladies and gentlemen. My name is Howard Diora. I'm 13 years old in the 8th grade, and I attend Medina Middle School. My title selection is "We Found Our Voice." Some people say that women will never rise, but what I see is that we have a voice, but are not able to say. Still, we should not be afraid, because we use our eyes and ears with the heart and soul. Are they blind? We are made of gold. As they say, history repeats. Why don't we say, our history starts now? We have waited too long and talked too much, but still nothing has been done. I say, let's change something by doing it. I have a voice, but altogether we have voices. Media and society often see Black women as vicious, disrespectful, and uneducated women. But what I see are the rise of queens. We never know where the road leads, but today we know where it starts. Our future, our world of African American women are treated like objects. We feel that we should change ourselves for other people's needs or wants, but not knowing that a beauty so rare and millennium so rich is what's blinding them. It doesn't matter if you're black, white, Asian, or Hispanic. Pro-black doesn't mean anti-white, nor does it mean anti-racial. Shirley Chisholm, an American politician, educator, and author. Betty Friedan, an American writer, activist, and a leading figure in women's movement. Zendaya Coleman, Malia Obama, and Amanda Steinberg. All these women, they're all the same, but one thing they have in common is passion. They seek a future for which one day women will lead. Why don't we begin a movement that acknowledges the rights that black women are missing? We are the rivers, streams, and ocean of this earth. If we as women don't move, who will? If we do not provide or nurture, how will this generation survive? So the question we should ask ourselves is, can one stand alone and speak for all? When will we rise, because tomorrow is never promised? Let's begin a legacy, carrying our history with us. Young black girls shouldn't feel as if their skin is neither good for themselves and their image is neither good for themselves. Ambition, sensation, discombobulation, anger that creates danger. Dark skin with natural hair, they watch her as she lifts the room. Stare, glare, the external and internal vision that she creates. Why would they contemplate my innate greatness? I say to you today, my friends, though we face difficulties of tomorrow, I still have a dream, Martin Luther King once said. And if you ask me, chaos or community, I say chaos is only being risen in the community. There is no chaos or community. It is happening. This black on black, this black on white, why don't we say black and white? Why is it that we have to separate ourselves in these phases that we use? That black woman, that black girl, it should be that girl, that woman. Do you see that girl? Do you see that black girl? Why should we use those phases? So let's begin the movement. And I say, let's rise. Thank you.
Hello, judges, ladies and gentlemen. My name is Jackie Garth. I am 13 years of age. I am in the 8th grade, and I attend Columbus City Preparatory School for Girls. The topic of my oration is, what would Dr. King say today? Chaos or community? Chaos. Complete disorder and confusion. Dr. King had a dream for the world to come together with nonviolence. But when I look around, I only see violence. Dr. King had a dream for the world to become non-segregated. But from my point of view, it seems to be nothing but separated. Dr. King once said, we must learn to live together as brothers, or we will perish together as fools. So when you ask me, what would Dr. King say today? Chaos or community? In my opinion, he would say chaos. Chaos because a full, brotherly, beloved community has not yet been created. His dream has not yet been fully understood. For those of us interested in building community, we have to learn how to get out of the chaotic stage. Getting out of the chaotic stage comes with struggles. We first must realize that violence equals destruction and take care of that problem. When we take care of that problem, we then take a huge step toward a beloved community. Then we must bridge the gap between our brothers and sisters. Now's the time to rise from the dark and desolate valley of segregation into the sunlit path of racial justice. We have to not only become a beloved community, it has to be a community filled with trust and understanding. In order to build up our community, some of us have to learn how to stand up for what's right without becoming a part of the problem. The ultimate measure of a man is not where he stands in moments of challenge, comfort, and convenience, but where he stands at times of challenge and controversy. From where the world started to where it is now, there has definitely been a change in where we are in the community. But still, some of us are stuck in the thought that when something is wrong, we have to put violence to it. But that's not a part of becoming a community. You have to choose your battles, but do not become silent about things that matter. In order to build our community, we have to understand it's not about the place or the setting, it's about the people, the feelings. Love is the only force capable of transforming an enemy into a friend. A community to me is a group of people willing to work together to build love and trust for each other, to want to learn from one another, to agree to disagree. A community does not come together because someone said so. Forcing a community will only in the end cause conflict. You have to know and understand who you commune with, or it just won't work. In conclusion, to become a community, we have to work together. Listen to Dr. King's dream and build that into reality. Our community cannot be forced. We have to come together as one and be the beloved community Dr. King has always hoped and dreamed for. Thank you.
Hello, judges, ladies, and gentlemen. My name is James Trent Williams, and I'm 14 and in 7th grade. I attend Arts Impact Middle School in Columbus City Schools. The title of my oration is Bring Light to a Night Devoid of Stars. When I was in kindergarten, I developed a fascination with war and the soldiers who defend our nation. They seemed amazing to me. When I learned about the Civil War and its aftermath, I have a different sense as who we are as a nation and who we are at war with. Since the attacks of 9/11, we as citizens have had increased fear and accepted a rolling back of rights and given powers to our police forces. And allowed them to act with impunity as they perpetrate violence on unarmed citizens and magnify the threat of real aggressors. In both situations, this has led to over amount of violence and an increase in citizen deaths both during arrest and while in custody. I've come to see it is not always easy to know who are the good guys and who are the bad. Nothing is more evident of this than the both recent police violence against unarmed citizens and the call of politicians to prevent refugees into a country because they are Muslim. In Ferguson, Missouri, it has been nearly 2 years since Michael Brown's arrest ended in his violent death. Here in Ohio, the family of 12-year-old Tamir Rice killed in Cleveland while playing with an air gun have waited a year for justice. In Cincinnati, there was Samuel Dubose. In Beaver Creek, police shot John Crawford. There was no indictment. In 2015, 776 people were shot and killed by police. 161 were unarmed. In contrast, 25 police officers were killed by firearms. In addition, questionable arrest ended in the deaths of Ray Gray and Sandra Bland. Entire communities have become synonymous with injustice. Ferguson, Baltimore, Chicago. Some people have the audacity to say all lives matter when they're trying to distract, dilute, and deny the impact this has on the Black community and what this says to the world about our country. I will correct them. Black lives matter. Police violence disproportionately impacts blacks and other minorities. It is both new Jim Crow as well as new fascism. Due to recent world events and the ones in our own backyard. This fascism is now seen as a call to also profile all Muslims, spy on mosques, and attempt to portray those respectable citizens who follow the Quran as terrorists, such as there is a call to prevent Muslims from immigrating to a country. However, I remember the words of Dr. King. Dr. King said, the ultimate weakness of violence is that it's a descending spiral. Beginning the very thing it seeks out to destroy. Instead of diminishing evil, it multiplies it. Through violence, you may murder the liar, but you cannot murder the lie, nor establish the truth. Through violence, you murder the liar, but you cannot murder the lie, nor establish the truth. Through violence, you murder the hater, but you do not murder the hate. In fact, violence merely increases hate. Return violence for violence multiplies violence. And deeper darkness, you are not already devoid of stars. Darkness cannot drive out darkness. Only light can do that. Hate cannot drive out hate. Only love can do that. In conclusion, only when we protect the rights of all citizens from violence can we truly be free. Thank you.
Good afternoon, judges, ladies and gentlemen. My name is Isaiah Hawkins. I am 13 years old in the 8th grade, and I attend Medina Middle School. The title of my selection is A Legacy Worth Leaving. When you walk the streets of downtown Columbus, what do you see? Do you see love, or do you see hate? Do you see friends, or do you see foes? Our nation is supposed to be one for all and all for one, but is it? Is it still a dream? Is it still a legacy? The violence and negativity that we produce doesn't amount to the positivity and peace that we can offer. The fight isn't over, but where does the peace begin? Injustice anywhere is a threat to justice everywhere. This quote is from Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. himself. So many families, children, friends, people don't receive the justice that is promised by our nation. Every year, about 6,000 racially motivated crimes go without punishment. What can we as a society, as a nation, do about this? We all have a voice, but most of us are just an echo. African Americans are strong-minded people. We have to show the world that our intelligence level is higher than the basic or even limited standard that has been scaled for us. That we all have the blood of our ancestors streaming through our veins. Martin Luther King Jr. stood for equality, he stood for peace, and he stood for justice. Now you ask me, would he say chaos or community? Would he be delighted with the racial crimes such as Sandra Bland, Trayvon Martin, or even Michael Brown? No, of course not. But would he be delighted that nearly 4.6 million African Americans hold a 4-year college degree? Yes, indeed. Even through our trials and tribulations, we are still standing. Remember, it always rains before a rainbow. And just like an arrow can't hit its target without being pulled back first. I honestly believe my mission is to keep his legacy alive. I currently maintain a 3.8 grade point average, play a variety of sports, a student ambassador of Medina Middle School, as well as a positive leader to my peers. On this journey we call life, I plan on attending and graduating from Yale University to become a surgeon. Just like Martin Luther King Jr. said, I have a dream, and my dream is to be a positive role model, an idol to my generation, a legend with an embraceful legacy, just like the legend, Martin Luther King Jr. Thank you.
Hello, judges, ladies and gentlemen. My name is Jaden Johnson. I am 13 years old. I am in the 8th grade, and I attend Columbus City Preparatory School for Girls. The topic of my oration is chaos or community. What would Dr. King say today? Chaos or community? For my people to realize that they are stuck in the middle, they need to open their eyes and widen their minds. We're letting people make us feel little and small when we should be standing tall and fighting back. not with aggression, but with wisdom. Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. once said, "Nonviolence offers the only road to freedom for my people." For my people. By this, Dr. King means for all people who would like to make a change in this world, someone who strives for peace and harmony between all races. If Dr. King were here today, what do you think he would say? Chaos or community? I think he would say that we are falling deeper and deeper into this pit of chaos, so we are quitting because we think we cannot dig ourselves out. But are we even trying? If we aren't, then all of his work just amounts to nothing. Is that what you really want? If not, march with me. March with me so we can beat the odds. March with me so our fight for freedom, peace, and a nonviolent community can finally come to an end, so we can finally be one. And if we can't do that, then his dream will never become a reality. Thank you.
Judges, ladies and gentlemen, my name is Elijah Johnson. I am 11 years old. I'm in the 6th grade. I attend Columbus City Preparatory School for Girls. My topic is, if Dr. King was alive, would he believe that our society today is chaos or community? Every man must decide whether he will walk in the light of creative honesty or in the darkness of destruction, selfishness. One reason that Dr. King would believe we have chaos is because people are still judging by color or if you're different. Dr. King also would think that we have community because people in America can do what they want or be themselves. Another reason Dr. King would think that we have community is because people are allowed to use the same things like doors, drinking fountains, restrooms. Dr. King would say that our society today is chaos because there are different races who still show some kindness because they're not the same. Some people now wants to try to get people who are not American out of our state, and not let them back in. Also, there's a lack of trust with our cultures because of all our hate and crimes, terrorist attacks. Also, people say things that they shouldn't say. I think if people get this quote through their head by Dr. King, darkness cannot drive out darkness, only light can do that. Hate cannot drive out hate, only love can do that. Not to mention the blacks crimes, all of the victims of young people dying. Dr. King would also have to agree that our world is full of community because all cultures can do what they want in America. They can be their own religion without anyone criticizing them. They can raise their families the way they want to. They can educate their children with other people. We also work jobs together now. I think people got this quote through their head. We must learn to live together as brothers or perish as fools. Overall, I think that Dr. King would say we are a society because we are all allowed to go in the same place we would like. For example, we can all go to the movies without someone going through a different door. A lot of people say stop judging by skin, not all, but a lot, and start judging by action and character. Like some of my friends, we have different skin tones, but we only see human and character, nothing else. Just like Dr. King's quote, I have a dream that my children will not be judged by their skin color, by character and action. The time is right to do what's right, said by Dr. King. Also, true peace is not the mercilessly the abuse of tension, it's the pressure of justice. It's kind of sad that some people still judge by color. I'm very proud that we can do what we want and be who we are. Character and action is what people should judge by. It's nice that I can take the same doors as my friends.
Judges, ladies and gentlemen, my name is Salma Kitab. I am 12 years old and I am in the 6th grade. I go to Ridgeview Middle School. My topic is about Martin Luther King and what he would think about the world today. If you didn't know already, 1 of every 65,000 kids ages 10 to 14 commit suicide yearly due to bullying and or engaging in bullying activities. More than 100,000 people in America are shot in murders, assault, suicide, and suicide attempts, accidents, or by police. 31,537 people in America are killed by gunshots. 11,583 people are killed, and 18,000 18,783 people commit suicide. All of these horrors happen only in America. Now imagine Dr. Martin Luther King seeing this and wondering, if this happens only in America, how many people are being killed worldwide? He would be disappointed in the wars, threats, violences, everything that's happening here in the US. With all of these statics before us, I can imagine him speaking to the microphone saying the words, "We the people need to come together as one. We must end these horrendous conflicts and resolve them in peace. We must all be open-minded in times like these, times where the innocent people are dying and the evil are blaming the whole. This is a war about humanity being broken into pieces, and we must all hold hands and be one." Martin would know exactly how to fix these problems, for he himself was involved in the history of racism. All of these problems around the world are because of how we act. Some people don't know how to get attention positively, so they become the horrors of our lifetime and generations. Martin Luther King would take his time to help every lost soul and help people find their redemption. He would stand face to face with his supporters and enemies once again and speak the words of his honesty and about the chaos in our lives. He would talk about terrorism, how not all Muslims mean harm. He would talk about the white policemen shooting black people, and the allowing of immigrants to our country is either the right or wrong thing to do. He would either be cheered or booed, but either way, he would still keep going. Martin Luther King continues on. "I as one have faith in us, faith that God will take us to the right path. I speak for justice and want no harm to any soul. For violence is not the key, but love and support will make us higher and our hearts pure. We will then see with our own eyes that it isn't as hard to resolve conflict as it seems." Martin Luther King will talk about harassment and bullying, and in this topic is where everyone shall be teary-eyed. He'll raise his voice, and with his confidence, even his words will stick with his enemies. Martin looks at everyone in the audience and begins to speak in his most convincing yet calming voice. "The weak pull down the strongest in their horrible times. We are all different, and that should be accepted in our time. But our society always makes us see our differences and similarities. They mind-wash our brains to think that everyone should be perfect. They want us to break down so they are the strongest, but we cannot let them win. In my eyes, our nation is stronger than it looks. And the eyes that meet mine at this very moment show that you are strong and capable of the things that the world holds for you. I envision him once again convincing the audience that they should be confident. Martin never lived a bright past, but he made every will to make the future brighter. This is why Dr. Martin Luther King would feel disappointed if he was still alive."
Hello, judges, ladies and gentlemen. My name is Monet Miller. I am 14 years old, and I attend Columbus City Preparatory School for Girls. Chaos or community? If Dr. King was alive today, I think he would ask the chaos makers a good question to ponder on. Are actions safe? Are they political? Is it popular? And are they right? If I shoot an innocent child this weekend, will I be admired? Will I be followed by leaders? Will I be followed by a bunch of paparazzi? Or better yet, will it be on the cover of every New York best-selling magazine? No, I won't. I'll be adding another child's name to hashtag Black Lives Matter and be sent to jail with a life-threatening sentence. If people know that violence won't get them anywhere but jailed or killed, why do they take place in these irresponsible and careless actions? As King says, I am convinced that for practical as well moral reasons, that nonviolence is the key to becoming a beloved community. I presume that nonviolence is the only road to becoming one big happy community. A community where blacks won't live in fear, a community where women won't get robbed, a community where parents can send their child off to school without worrying about any bomb threats, a community where the political party doesn't have to worry about ISIS, a community where whites don't fight blacks, causing an immediate outbreak. Just one big happy community trying to fight over all evils of society in such a way that nonviolence won't even exist.
Hello, judges, ladies and gentlemen. My name is Jaylista Moon. I'm 13 years old. I'm in the 8th grade, and I attend Columbus City Preparatory School for Girls. The topic this year for the oratorical speech was, would Dr. King choose chaos or community. Martin Luther King Jr.'s dream was an inspiration, but it was never finished. He left many legacies on the world. His greatest legacy was a dream. The dream started off with a community, and I hope the dream ends with the community. The change came with challenges and sacrifice. The community wanted change, so they put their differences aside to make things fair, make things equal for females, males, and all race. As Dr. King once said, human progress is neither automatic nor irrelevant. Every step toward the goal requires sacrifice, suffering, and struggle. The tireless extension of passionate concerns of dedicated individuals. What is community? What would you say community is? Would you consider it a feeling, a place, or something else? The dictionary for a definite community as a social group whose of any size whose members reside in a specific locality, share government, have common and historical heritage. The real definition of a community is a feeling. A community created by love, not hate. Community is force, but you could be the choice to change the world. Be the change you want to see in the world, by M. Gandhi. Chaos or community? What would Dr. King say? Dr. King would say, community. Why choose this answer? Dr. King once said, I have a dream that one day in Alabama, with the vicious racists, with the government dripping of the word of imposition and neglection, that one day little black boys and little black girls will join hands with little white boys and white girls, become brothers and sisters. Why wouldn't he choose chaos, especially what's going on in the community right now? He wouldn't choose chaos because the problems were there. They just increased over the many years. Don't be caught in the act of drama. It's not what happened to you that matters, but how you react. Everyone has a purpose. Everyone has a story. Martin Luther King's story was to start a dream. The goal is to continue to dream with the community. It might be hard, but we're up for the challenge. I learned that life is like a book. Sometimes we must close the chapter and begin the next one. And remember, to continue to dream with the community, we must spread more love than we do hate. Thank you.
Judges, ladies and gentlemen, my name is Plan Patrick. I am 13 years old and in the 8th grade. I attend Columbus Gifted Academy, and my speech is called Through My Eyes. America is at peace, void of war and direct external conflict. But internally, America still struggles to become equal. And if you have seen the things on the news and heard the things on the radio, then you know that inequality is still here. We have come a long way, but we aren't finished. My generation cannot rest. There's still work to be done in different areas too. The race is not done until true equality is won. I invite you to see inequality through my eyes. Through my eyes, I saw a young woman play just as good as any other boy I have ever seen, but still couldn't make the team. She shot a 3 and another and made her layup, but still, the boys didn't acknowledge her. Then she got up enough courage to walk up to the boys picking the teams. Still, they acted as if she wasn't there. Why? Why couldn't they notice how much potential she had? Then finally, she spoke and said, "Can I play?" The boys all looked at her as if she was a lost puppy, and soon started to laugh. The girl instantly walked away, without showing as much as a shred of hurt feelings, as if it had happened so many times before. As I watched, I saw a couple of boys in the group feel like the girl was good enough, thinking she would be a great addition to the team, but still, they said nothing. If I was that girl, I would have run away in tears, because I haven't experienced anything like that before. But she probably has, because she expected it. No one should feel like that. No one should feel left out or rejected and then accept it as if nothing happened. Judges, audience, how would you feel if someone laughed at you like that, but you knew that you were just as good? That isn't right. That isn't equality. And not saying anything isn't helping the situation either. Our voices tell stories and experiences, and if we don't let them be heard, why even have voices at all? Where do we draw the line? When do we say, let's see what happens, instead of let's not take the chance? When that changes, when that day comes, we will be equal. We will be a community. But until then, our community, state, country, and our world will not come together as one. Through my eyes, I see people dream but not achieve. They dream of becoming CEOs, doctors, scientists, going to college, living in a big house, having a happy family. But they can't get there because they're being incarcerated. According to the group American Progress, people of color only make up 30% of America's population. But 60% of people in jail are colored. If Martin Luther King Jr. were here today, I think he would be disappointed at our corrupted police force. I don't want to live in a world where every 1 out of 3 black men should expect to go to jail in their lifetime. Who would want to live in that world? But it's the world we live in. Where did it go wrong? Why has our community turned out like this? Do we not see our mistakes and errors? Martin Luther King Jr. once said, if you can't fly, then run. If you can't run, then walk. And if you can't walk, then crawl. But whatever you do, you have to keep moving forward. And that's exactly what we need to do. Keep moving forward. And as someone who holds the future of my generation in my hands, through my eyes, I see a world that needs to change. A world that needs room and space to grow. A world that needs to stop accepting the status quo and start thinking about what's right and what's wrong. A world that needs to be more open to new ideas and different opinions. A world where we don't have hate groups who want one race to be better than another. A world who lets grievances go and lets bygones be bygones. I truly think we can become a community, a place where no one has to worry about the justice system doing them wrong, or where they aren't discriminated because of their gender or ethnicity. The race is not done until equality is won. That's what I see through my eyes. Tell me what you see through yours. Thank you.
Judges, ladies and gentlemen, my name is Connor Short. I am 13 now. I am in the 7th grade and I attend Buckeye Middle School. My title is A Real Superhero. So I just want to say that many great things have happened on my birthday, January 15th. For instance, Tchaikovsky's Swan Lake premiered in 1895. That is great, but easily the coolest thing is sharing my birthday with a legend, Dr. Reverend Martin Luther King Jr., who changed America forever. You see, I am proud. I am proud because I share a birthday with a legend. But not only a legend, a leader to carve a path for equality in future society. A leader who showed the world how unfairly so many people were treated. Dr. King's movement all started on December 1st, 1955, when Rosa Parks refused to give up her seat on a Montgomery bus. Dr. King was a great civil rights leader in the Montgomery bus boycott, which started the day of Rosa Parks' hearing and lasted 381 days. See, Dr. King didn't realize, sticking up for Rosa Parks on that bus, he started a revolution. But not a revolution, a massive landslide of equal rights that was demanded on a human rights scale. Not only was Rosa Parks' right to keep her seating a civil right, it was a basic right to us as human beings to let the woman sit up front. I don't know about you, but if my mother, after a long, hard day of work, got on the bus, I would let her sit up front. And why? Because no matter what color and gender she is, it was the right thing to do as humans. See, Dr. Reverend Martin Luther King Jr. understood that principle. He understood that it was our duty as people to do the right thing. He understood this without knowing that he was starting a new time. He evolved the world, so to speak. He made us all aware of our own stupidity. That no matter what color, creed, or religion we are, we're all a team. We're all on the same planet. And guess what? We all bleed the same blood and wake to the same sky. Dr. King understood this. You see, I admire Dr. King. I admire his beliefs of analyzing conflicts in a civilized, nonviolent way. And I'll also admit, I'm jealous of Dr. King. I'm jealous of his grit, his drive, and his determination. But Dr. King had what a lot of us don't have. Courage. The courage to fight for what is true and just. The way I see it, Dr. King is a kind of superhero in that instance, but not a fictional Hollywood superhero, one we can all stand behind and support when the time is right. In my opinion, Dr. Reverend Martin Luther King Jr. defined what a true hero is. So as you hear me speak, you may wonder to yourself. Everyone should wonder to themselves what their definition of a hero is. Dr. Reverend Martin Luther King Jr. was that hero because he faced adversity, hardship, anger, and the evils of the world and didn't back down. I don't care what Hollywood movies have led you to believe, but Dr. King proved that you don't have to fly to be a true Superman. So this January 15th, 2016, 13 years ago, a poor white kid from the south side of Columbus was born. And on that same day, 89 years previous, a legend was born who would forever change my birthday and change the world. Thank you.
Hello, judges, ladies and gentlemen. My name is Brianna Walker. I am 14 years old in the 8th grade and currently attending Columbus Gifted Academy. The topic of my oration is a child of chaos. As I stand here today, I would like you to know that I do not have all of the answers. I can't show you the way. While I could drag you to the water, I can't make you drink. So what am I doing here? I would like the opportunity to challenge you to find your own answer by shining a light on a few things. Over the next few minutes, you can look at me as a flashlight. I know. Why a flashlight? For that answer, I need you to think of all the horror movies you've ever seen, and in all of them, we had our hero, right? Brave and true, armed with nothing more than his trusty flashlight, going into places we dare not go. Somehow, every time our hero reaches the darkest part of his journey, his trusty flashlight begins to flicker. This continues the whole time, on, off, providing just enough light to find his way. Light has always been a symbol of truth, safety, and life itself. As a newborn, the first thing you do is open your eyes and see the light. So, my heroes and heroines, are you ready? Sitting there brave and true, let's start this adventure together. And I promise you one thing, I will not leave you in the dark. Flashlights on. So we have been asked a question. What would Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. say today? Chaos or community? I think he would say that we can't build a community without first going through a little chaos. Quite simply, we're gonna have to break a few eggs to make our omelet. See, I am a child of chaos. For years, I had 2 birthday parties, 2 Thanksgiving dinners, and 2 Christmas celebrations. The reasons why, you ask? My family took the road traveled, not the road less traveled. That is what we do. We take the easy way out instead of doing what is right. I am a biracial child whose grandparents came from 2 totally different worlds. My mother's father used words like colored, not black, nor African American. My father's mother was a single black woman who had a hard, no-nonsense approach to things. So my parents kept them apart for years. Separated, but equal. That is, equal time with me. I am not sure, but we think it was not until our car became too small to carry us along with all of the Christmas presents that they were forced to change the narrative. My parents decided to be no longer scared of chaos, but to face the situation head on. If life hands you lemons, you make lemonade. Now, my heroes, let's shine the light on community. People see their community as something bigger than themselves. So how can they fix something so large? Is a community your town, or is it your neighborhood? See, one thing that fairy tales taught me is more than true. Not because they tell us dragons exist, but more because they tell us the dragon can be slayed. Heroes, we are resting on the corner of Hope Avenue and Fear Street. Let's take a walk. Together we will slay the dragon, but what will we use? We've all heard the saying, the pen is mightier than the sword. Our pen is our voice. So lift every voice and sing to earth and heaven ring, and let's make that ring so loud that we can drown out the darkest parts. Each of you can do this. Find your flashlight, and may it be a light for you in dark places when all other lights go out. There it is, my challenge to you. Take it home, wear it for a few days, and if you disagree with me, you know where to find me. Here in front of you, next year, with my trusty flashlight. Flashlights off.
Hello, judges, ladies and gentlemen.
My name is Rhea Wheeler. I am an 11-year-old sixth grader attending Columbus City Preparatory School for Girls. My topic is called Chaos and Community. Hate is too great a burden to bear. It injures the hater more than it injures the hated. A quote from Coretta Scott King. One reason why I think we have chaos in our community is because of police brutality. Another reason we have chaos in our lives is because of Black lives being taken. Also, we have community in our world because of adults keeping children and young adults on the right path. Dr. King would say that our society today is in chaos because of the stories on the news of policemen being arrested or fired from their jobs due to aggressively hurting or killing Black people. A policeman yanked a teenage girl out of her chair and dragged her across the room because she did not listen to the teacher. Policemen are fighting kids in their community. There was a story of a woman being harassed and arrested forcefully. She was later found dead in her cell. Police officers later say that the cause of her death was because of suicide, but her family members denied it. Dr. King would say that our world today is in chaos because there are stories on the news about Black Lives Matter. The story of Trayvon Martin was a horrible tragedy. A teenage boy got shot and killed just walking home from the corner store with a bag of Skittles and an Arizona drink in his hand. But there are not just stories of white people killing Blacks. There are different types of races killing one another. Even with so much violence in the world, there is some good in our society. So I think Dr. King would say community because of how cops are spending time with kids in their community. Adults are helping children when they are sick or lost. There are lots of integrated schools, including Blacks, whites, Muslims, and Africans. Also, adults are helping teens stay on the right path. The barbarity of police officers should be stopped today, because that is one reason we have chaos in our community. The pandemonium in our lives is happening because of the killing of Black lives, so that should end now. We can all continue the community in the world by securing kids and mentoring the kids in the great way. Thank you.
Judges, ladies and gentlemen, my name is Zora Whitfield. I am 14 years old and in the 8th grade at Columbus City Preparatory School for Girls. The topic of my oration is chaos or community. A community is like a family. In a family, they love each other to the ends of the universe, no matter what their flaws are. Chaos is when we break each other down, judge them, eliminate them, or when we are silent about things that matter. Okay, so I don't want to alarm anyone or anything, but the person to your left is guilty of crime. So is the person to your right, and the person in front and behind you. Not to mention yourself and I, we are all guilty. Where do we go from here? Chaos or community? Dr. King was trying to, where do we go from here? Chaos or community? Dr. King was trying to tell us something, trying to ask us about our intentions. And honestly, if Dr. King was to rise from the grave today, I think we'd be stuck in a sort of bittersweet melancholy. I mean, don't get me wrong, a lot has changed, yet much has stayed the same. I mean, America's supposed to be the land of the free and home of the brave, but then we go on with genocide problems. How can we ever be a family when we judge each other so much? When I was younger, I used to feel as if the world were a perfect place. I knew nothing of war in my past. In fact, the very thought of death literally scared me half to death. But now I've become accustomed to hearing about chaotic things. Did you know that the US is leading the world in mass shootings? I didn't know until very recently that in 1,066 days, 1,052 mass shootings occurred. I mean, think about this. My birthday now shares the same day as the Sandy Hook mass shooting tragedy. This makes me miserable to know that this type of heart-wrenching event would take place on a day that's full of joy, excitement, and life for me. I feel that the government and those empowered to make change have not done enough to prevent these mass shootings. Dr. King once said, "He who passively accepts evil is as much involved in it as he who helps perpetrate it." We cannot accept the fact that there are just crazy people who have lost their wits in the world. We are all guilty for these mass shootings and for not putting more restrictions on dangerous guns. I feel like America, despite its twisted ways and burning phrase, is also mostly good. This is why I cannot say there is just chaos or just community. I myself, as an 8th grader, am involved in many outside school activities, such as competitive swimming and a member of the COSI Youth Volunteer Staff. Columbus itself has a community feel, because it's not just full of nice, loving people, but compared to long ago, no matter who you are or what you look like, you have a chance to aspire high, to dream big. So I've come to the conclusion that America is not in total chaos, but on the flip side, let's face it, it just has some issues. In order to maintain and continue building a family feel, we, all of us in this room today, need to splinter out and tell people to stop accepting injustice and to stop labeling people. In doing so, we can better honor the great Dr. King and his legacy. In doing so, we, ladies and gentlemen, can gain our innocence. Thank you.
So we're going to start with the seniors, and our first senior is Riley Bodeker O'Connor. She is 13 years of age, in the 9th grade at the Metro Institute of Technology.
Good afternoon, ladies, gentlemen, and judges. My name is Riley Bodeker O'Connor. I am in 9th grade, and I'm 13 years old, and I go to Metro Institute of Technology. And my topic is, what would Martin Luther King say today? Chaos or community? Martin Luther King was a hopeful and positive man. He believed in our people and in our country. Although he was killed, he left a significant mark on history. It was so large that we are still talking about it today. If Martin Luther King were still alive, he would speak publicly with his trademark enthusiasm, but he would be disappointed at the lack of progress on some of the issues in the civil rights movement 50 years ago. Martin Luther King was against violence of any kind, even if it was with good intentions. In his famous I Have a Dream speech, he talks about police brutality in Mississippi. Now in the 21st century, police brutality is still a big issue. Martin Luther King would be disappointed at the violent policemen who have been murdering innocent black men, especially because this was a problem happening all the way back in the 1960s. But those policemen are not the only people Martin Luther King would be upset with. After the fatal shooting of Michael Brown in Ferguson, town members sought out revenge in a violent way. But this goes against everything Martin Luther King stood for. King would ask us to look for justice and not for blood. He would say that both sides of this issue were wrong because each side hurt innocent people, which is inexcusable in Martin Luther King's opinion. Martin Luther King would construct peaceful and organized protests that served a definite purpose of making a difference. We can continue in his legacy by using his protesting techniques in our own pursuit of equality. If we could learn how Martin Luther King organized his successful protests, I'm sure we'd be much better off in making a difference. Equality is fought for on many planes. Currently, people voice their opinions on social media. In some ways, Martin Luther King would be proud of how social media unites everyone from around the world. But as Robert Frost once said, nothing gold can stay. Social media has encouraged us to join a society of slacktivism. The term means exactly as it sounds. Because of social media, we can slack off on making a difference while still pretending to. In other words, people complain about all the things they think is wrong with the world on social media, but continue to sit back and do nothing about it. Things like the internet and social media are encouraging us to join this society of slacktivism because now all you have to do to get noticed is simply post a comment that gets enough likes or retweets on social media. When Martin Luther King was alive, you had to actually go out and make people listen to you. And that wasn't an easy thing to do, especially if you were a minority like Martin Luther King. King traveled long distances to give speeches and organize protests that required a large amount of stamina and patience. Martin Luther King would be disturbed at the lack of effort demonstrated by some of today's protesters, but there are still many protesters who are willing to work hard to improve today's society. Although Martin Luther King was a devout Christian, he believed that people of all religions should live in peace and harmony. In his famous I Have a Dream speech, he talks about not only racial discrimination, but also religious discrimination. In the very last sentence of his speech, he proclaims, Jews and Gentiles, Protestants and Catholics will be able to join hands and sing the words of the old Negro spiritual, free at last, great God Almighty, we are free at last. He wished for a society where religion didn't separate us. But now, 50 years later, religious stereotypes still cause members of one religion to lash out another in hurtful ways. For example, after the terrible crisis on 9/11 and the more recent threat of the terrorist group ISIS, some Americans believe that all Muslims are dangerous, which couldn't be farther from the truth. Because of recent terrorist attacks carried out by Muslims, a severed pig's head was thrown at a mosque in Philadelphia just a couple months ago. What Martin Luther King would want us to understand is that fighting with each other is not going to solve anything, especially when we should be focusing on taking on the real threat, ISIS. Martin Luther King wished for equality in all things. He would encourage us to accept our religious differences and to not believe in the religious stereotypes on those religions. During Martin Luther King's time, there were still signs marked whites only, and a black teen could get lynched simply for flirting with a white woman. We have broken many of these barriers today, and Martin Luther King would be proud of that. But he would tell us to go farther. He would remind us of how far we've come and encourage us to continue on. Even with the stark reality that we have far to go, he would tell us that we can accomplish anything. Thank you.
Judges, ladies and gentlemen, my name is Samir Mohammed and I am from Briggs High School. I am a 10th grader and today I'll be speaking on the topic, what would Dr. King say? Chaos or community? Ladies and gentlemen, please take a second to look around this room. What do you notice? The diversity around this room is truly something to celebrate. Within this room, there are people from around the globe. I mean, just think, within your social group or among your friends, there's at least one person who's different, whether that is color or religion. When Dr. King walked this earth, he experienced firsthand the pain that segregation and racism caused. Back then, there was an imaginary line that separated black people from white people. And the more people believed in that line, the more real it became. Soon that same imaginary line that wasn't there was real and bold. These racial problems built up to a mountain, and right beyond that mountain of hate, Dr. King saw a country filled with potential to be something greater, more noble. He had a dream that little African American girls would go to school filled with kids from every race, color, and creed, where people wouldn't look at them differently because of the color of their skin. Dr. King avoided the little bumps on the road and ignored the haters on the sidewalk. Dr. King wasn't going to give up on his dream. For generations, African Americans suffered in silence. For a long time, they believed they didn't have enough power to change inequality all around them. They endured with every bit of strength they had, unwilling to give up. And now, with the help of Dr. King, there was no giving up. Now the future seemed a lot brighter. It's because of Dr. King and the great Americans who followed his leadership, who stepped up to make this nation as great as it is right now. This is no way suggesting we live in a utopia. The world over is filled with religious and ethnic strifes. So when you ask me what would Dr. King's point of view be if he were still alive today, I would give you a big smile and say, of course he would think we're further along the road to community. For example, going to work with a person of a different race or sitting wherever you want on a bus is not abnormal. Not to mention, America's first black president is currently in his second term. So when you ask me what would Dr. King's point of view be if he were still alive today, I'll give you a great big smile and say, community. Thank you.
Good afternoon, judges, ladies and gentlemen. My name is Mariah Bayemi. I am 15 years old, a 9th grade student at Centennial High School. The topic of my oration is chaos or community. You asked me today, what would Dr. King say? Chaos or community? I respond to you saying that in order to understand the question, you must first understand the history. Ask yourself what happened when the king was alive, during the era of white resistance and overwhelming oppression. Then ask yourself what happened when he died. I can tell you that there was genocide, homicide. There were riots, lynchings, and a large outpouring of grief. People were in anguish because not only did they realize how much they had lost, but they also realized the dark period that was to follow. They realized that now, not only were their previous oppressors after them, but they had violence within their own communities. In a time where they're supposed to unite and carry on King's legacy, they fell. Without a strong and willing leader, they fell. Not too many people talk about what happened immediately after Dr. King died. But today you ask me what Dr. King would say, and my response to you is chaos. In the year 1969, just after Martin Luther King Jr. was assassinated, the Community Resources for Independent People was born in Los Angeles, California. The group was formed in response to the increasing harassment the Black community had to face from police officers. This group, now notoriously known as the Crips, have found themselves in rivalry with another group formulated for the same purpose of defeating oppression, the Bloods. These groups have deviated from their original purposes and are now gangs that have a long history of violence in the United States. The Crips and the Bloods sprang forward with good intention, but the gangs have been shattered because oppression got the best of them. This kind of oppression came not only from their previous oppressors, but from violence within their own communities. It came forth and expanded on the false pretenses that you could bring about a change even if you weren't united. Without a strong and willing leader to direct the initial purposes of these groups, they fell. In this scenario, you ask me what Dr. King would say, and my response to you is chaos. We can't say that things have always been the best for everyone in the United States, but we have to remember how far we've come. In order not to regress, we have to evaluate where we've been and where we want to go. As a country and as a community, we have to have conversations and make decisions that will benefit ourselves and our future generations. An old proverb says, a community doesn't plant a tree so they may enjoy the shade it provides, but so their future generations may enjoy the shade from that same tree. A selfless act such as planting a tree or having conversations can last longer than we think. My 8-year-old brother, who's wise beyond his years, read my oration and asked me why chaos is so prevalent in a world where people are working hard to create peace. I tried hard to explain to him that we are trying to undo hundreds of years of damage. But in all honesty, we don't have the mindset that we need. Why is it that in a world such as ours, we can't unite and bring about a greater good? This isn't naive kid optimism. This is a wake-up call. So wake up. And together, let's turn all this chaos into a strong community. Let's carry on King's legacy so that when the same question is asked of generations to come, they will proudly say community. But as for now, you ask me what Dr. King would say, and my response to you is chaos. This is a wake-up call. This is our reality. Thank you.
Thank you. Excellent, excellent. So I believe we have heard from all of our orators. So if you could do me this favor, all of the orators, if you could stand up and turn and face your parents. Parents, I think they deserve a great round of applause. All right. There you go. That's my baby.
There you go. Now you can do it.
Now you can do it. Thank you for holding off on that. We appreciate that. Now, orders and guests, you know, it is time for intermission. When we come back, the winners of each division will be announced here in this room. I want to thank you for allowing me to be here today. Also, as always, it's an honor and a pleasure. There will be food in the auditorium for the participants. So parents and adults, let's make sure that all the orators, they get to eat before others eat, please. We appreciate that.
And I too would like to thank you for having me here today. I enjoyed myself. I was so inspired by the words of each of our orators. You've taken the time to carefully craft your words and to speak from your hearts and your own personal experiences and the way you see the world, and we couldn't be more grateful. So thank you so much for your investment of time, each of you in our junior and senior divisions. You have been a gift to us today. Thank you, and I'll look forward to seeing each of you next year. And also, if you leave the area, please be back in time for the awards presentation. We want to celebrate you.
And also, again, we'd like to thank the judges. A round of applause for the judges. I told them it was going to be very difficult to judge this, and so it is. I am sure I saw them writing and scratching their heads and what have you, so we appreciate the time and effort that you have put forth today to make this happen and judge these great orators. So at this time, we're going to be taking that intermission break. So our young people, you can go grab something to eat and get together with your parents, and we'll be back in here probably in about a half hour or so. So make sure that you keep checking with us to come back in. Thank you so much. Well, welcome everyone. If this is your first time in this side of the hall, my name is Napoleon Bell, and I'm the Executive Director with the City of Columbus Community Relations Commission, and I was one of the co-hosts on this side, and this is Miss Tony Bell, and she was also so we're co-hosts on this side of the King R's complex, making it happen over here, and so we're so happy that all of you are to be a part of this wonderful program, and we saw the junior and senior division, but I wish we could have seen the primary and intermediate, because I heard some great things that went on over there with the primary. Where are the primary and intermediate young ones? Where are they? Raise your hands. Say something. Woo-hoo! All right. Great. Now for those who didn't get to see the junior seniors, wave your hand. Wait, where are you at, junior senior contestants, orators? All right. Well, we thank you so much once again for being a part of this, and it's an annual program, and so we hope that you spread the word and get additional persons, young people, to get involved, because it does make a difference. From the orations that we heard today were so impactful, but also I want to say so deep, because of the empathy that was shown and research that was done to really make a difference. And so it's a learning process also, but also it took a lot of courage to come up here on this stage and the other stage to make that presentation. So I really appreciate you young people and what you have done and what you're going to do. Also, just a thing in regards to Dr. Martin Luther King, most of you should have been handed one of these save the date cards. Please come out and be a part of that on Monday, this Monday, to celebrate Dr. King's life and legacy. We do an annual march and then a program over at the Lincoln Theater. So we have a great speaker over at the Lincoln Theater, Dr. Mary Frances Berry, but also young people. Be a part of the march. Bring your banners, your whatever to show your support of nonviolence and Dr. King's legacy. So please be a part of that. We've got some great things that will be going on here, because the march begins here. We gather here at 4 o'clock on Monday, and then we kick off the march at 4:45 and end up over at the Lincoln Theater. So if you don't have one of those, please feel free to grab me. I've got a couple more of these save the date cards to hand out. Now, for what we came for, so judges, I told this side earlier that the judges had an incredible time making a decision. So I wanted to make sure that I read off what you were judged upon. Now, you also should have received this in the mail too, but I just wanted to make sure that everybody was aware prior to reading off of who placed in the position in the oratorical contest. One of the areas was poise, self-confidence, audience appeal. The next one was physical appearance, appropriate dress, facial expression, and continence. Voice quality, audibility, articulation, inflection, and moderation. Observance of time. Contestants should not go over or under time. Physical dynamics, proper use of gestures. And originality, poetic and or musical, interpretation, welcome. And then posture. And then also there was a written composition that you were also judged upon. So those are the things that our orators were judged upon. If you didn't know that, if your family and friends that are here, they were judged not only on what they delivered here, but also how they delivered it, and also the written composition. So, now that we know all that, we've come upon that time that we are to say who the winners were, but I think all of you were definitely winners for being courageous to come and give your oration. So a round of applause for all of you. Okay, so we'll start off with the primary division. And we'll start off with third place. So when we announce the winner, if you'd please come up either one side or the other. What we like to do is hand you your certificate and your award, and also place the, if you're third or second place, we have a ribbon for you, and in first place we have a plaque. But also come up here and we'll get a quick picture of you. Whichever way is closest, come up either way. So for the primary division, the third place winner in the primary division is Veronica Mismas. Come on down, Veronica. Okay, I better put on my glasses again. Okay, about to read the wrong one. All right, for second place in the primary division is Adonia Balkis. Adonia, come on down. Clinton Elementary. Excellent. Okay. Now, for the first place winner in the primary division is Elena Early. Elena Early. And Elena, what school do you go to? Clinton Elementary? All right, all right. Oh. How about another round of applause for our elementary? Well, no, we'll let them come out. Okay, I tell you what. Okay, you guys can. Okay, you can go to your seats now, but stay close because I want you to come on back up. Okay. All right. Okay, in the intermediate division, the third place winner of the intermediate division is Maddie Haanen. Maddie Haanen. Okay. The second place winner in the intermediate division is Mackenzie Lewis. Mackenzie Lewis, come on down. Okay. Now for first place, I guess I was supposed to do a drum roll last time. So, if you could help us out with a drum roll for first place winner of the animated division is Liv Barton. Come on down. How about a nice round of applause again? Okay. Okay. In the junior division, our third place winner is Cameron Dewberry. Okay, second place in the junior division is Hawa Diawara. Hawa. Okay, on the junior division, and I won't forget this time, please, drum roll. The first place is Clayton Patrick. Come on down. All right. We're getting there. Now we're at the senior division. In third place, senior division, is Samira Mahmoud. Muhammad. Samira Muhammad, come on down. Okay, second place, senior division, is Mario Obiame. Where are you? That's going to be to everyone's top three. Okay. Senior division. First place winner. Drum roll.
See, they remember.
As if you didn't know.
The smart audience.
All right. Is Riley Bodeker O'Connor. Come on down. Okay, so could we have at this time all the persons who placed to come on up, all the young people, the young orators come on up who placed, and then we're going to get everyone to come on up after that. So please come on up and we're going to get a group shot here. And while you're doing that, you know, this will automatically get you into the statewide oratorical contest in 2016, and that is held in April. So make sure I have some contact information for Bobby Bell, who's with the Department of Administrative Services, who coordinates that program. So make sure that if your young person has placed, that you make sure that you grab one of these sheets of paper and connect with Bobby Bell. Nice round of applause, please. Give it up for him. Woo-hoo. Now what I love to have is all of you who were engaged and part of and did your oration here at the King Arts Complex. Come on down so we can get you in the picture. All of the orators, come on down. Okay, don't go anywhere. No, don't go anywhere. Don't go anywhere yet. Because I know the families want to get pictures too, right? So, families, please come on up, and I want you to be able to get a good picture up close if you wish to do that of the group here, and then we can, then I'm sure you might want to divide up into grades and what have you. But I want to give you the opportunity to see our young people who have challenged themselves and made this happen. See, it's like you're in Hollywood. And that's all the paparazzi out there. And while you're doing that, I also want to give a big shout out to Miss Nikki Jenkins over here, who I'm sure you guys all had connections with. Give her a round of applause too. She made it happen, was a coordinator of the event. Been doing it for each and every year. All right, so I guess that's about it. On behalf of the Columbus Community Relations Commission, we'd like to thank you for being a part of this. Parents, thank you, because we know it took some time for you guys to make this happen. And we love to see engaged parents with their young people. Thank you so much, and young people, you did a great job. All of you, thank you so much.